Manor Lords has a lot of mechanics in it that can help your game out if you know them, and in some instances, actually hurt you if you don't. In today's video, I'm going to try to bring you 10 things, and hopefully, maybe just a couple of these you didn't know and can help improve your game much better in the long run. A hitching post is one of the most important things that can happen at the beginning of the game. A hitching post will give you an oxen, and that is what's used to move goods around when you're talking about timber. That is something that you're going to have a lot of to move at the beginning of the game. And one of the things that I highly recommend is you use your initial starting money to get yourself a second hitching post and an additional oxen. And between all of your camps to your woodcutters, and then moving that wood to build houses and all your structures, you're only going to have one to do everything. So at the beginning of the game, I highly recommend that you use that starting money to get yourself another hitching post and an oxen, because that's where you're going to be bottlenecked. One of the biggest problems I had in the game came from markets. We originally thought you wanted to have the markets nice and close to wherever your housing is. That is essentially not the case. As Strat Gaming showed in his video, and I will link it at the end and put it in the description, you don't want to have them by your houses. You actually want to have them close to your granary and your storehouse, because they take the goods from here and put it to the market stalls. From there, it gets distributed to all the houses. Therefore, you want extremely quick travel times from your storehouse and granary to the marketplace. That is how you get the full coverage. You will see in this game, I do not have full coverage, both in clothing and food variety, even though I have plenty to actually cover everybody. And why is that? Because I built one of my stalls down here. So it takes a long time to get these goods all the way down here. If I were to demolish this and let my other marketplace build up, it would easily be able to cover everything. So when you are placing a market stall down, make sure it is close to your storehouse and your granary above all else. Don't place it so much near your housing. It's not needed. So check out Strat's video in which he goes into depth on this. One of the obvious things you want to do is you want to upgrade as fast as possible. If you build new housing, you're going to get a new person to come in. A new person is a new worker. One new worker you get, okay, I could put them on fuel. They're still going to need food and clothing. So be careful about upgrading too early. As you do, you're not going to have enough of everything for them. And at the beginning of the game, fuel is a problem. It takes a lot to get that fuel going, especially if you don't have charcoal. Food, depending on where you have your camps set up, if they're too far away, they're not going to get food that quickly back to your town. And then clothing, you need to get that set up as quick as you can with leather. Once again, if you don't have the leather supply, then they're going to run out. You need to have that to be able to upgrade these to level 2 and then eventually to level 3 if you meet these requirements. Once you meet these requirements at level 1, this is going to drastically increase. Here you can see the difference between level 1 and a level 2. They need a church level. They need an additional food, an additional clothing to be able to upgrade. So you want to get that surplus built up before you start your massive upgrading, or you could run into the problem where you just don't have enough goods because they're constantly being consumed. So get a little supply of stuff built up before you upgrade. Remember, Manor Lords isn't a race. The AI isn't going to take over the map in the first hour. You have time. So take your time because it's going to save you time in the long run. When you go to upgrade any shop, at first you can go ahead and get a vegetable garden, chicken coop, and that can provide some resources for you. However, these artisans right here, you have to have one at level 2 to upgrade those. Once you have one level 2, you can then upgrade these to build things like shoes or make the beer that you need. One thing you need to be extremely careful about when you do upgrade these are now artisan shops. Once upgraded, they will exclusively work on this, and that means the entire family. They will no longer be able to work any other project in the town, such as moving food or building things. The entire family is dedicated to this and only this. So don't go crazy trying to get everything built up as quick as possible, because then you're going to run into the problem where you don't have enough workers. One thing that I did not notice right away in the game was the tab button. Well, until I actually saw a video of somebody do this, I didn't know that this could be done. If you hit tab, the amount of information given to you is astronomical. You take a look at this. One example is how many workers it has and how many maximum it can have. When you see these in red, that means you cannot run them, like a forager's hut. We're currently into winter, so it can't run any of those. When you look at housing, it shows you exactly what it's missing, what it has, what level it is, how many people are there. The amount of information that this tab button brings you is tremendous because it gives you so much information at the click of a button that you can see and know exactly what's going on. Well, look at this. I am out of ale, so I need to worry about my ale production. So that's something that you can tell just by a quick moment's glance. Many people have ways that they make money in the game. I don't know if it's honestly the best, but one of the greatest things I like to do is get my trading post up as soon as possible. I will go into trade logistics to where I have a 25 regional cost to open up a trade route. What I want to do is I want to build my trading post for the King's Road so that way there are people that are naturally coming by and they can trade. Having spent that early 30 on an oxen, trade routes now only cost you 25. You start out, I believe, with 60, which means you'll have 5 left. So, how do I make money early in the game? There are two things that I make very early to really get my income going. One is planks. That is one of the first 5, maybe 6 buildings that you're going to go ahead and build, and you're going to be able to get a ton of planks. Now, the new system is in where the market is being flooded and the price drops. But early on, it's still very good. So I will first open up a trade route for planks, get rid of a lot of my planks, and that will get me some money. Then, as soon as I get my third level of a town, I will start making charcoal. That is now the next thing I will go ahead and export to make money. Those two alone will last you quite a few years before the market is oversaturated and bring you in a ton of money. So those are the two things that I concentrate on the most. And then, of course, once you get a little bit higher up, then I can go ahead and I can start getting rid of some shoes. By the time the market is flooded, I already have a bunch of regional wealth and I don't need to export anymore. I'm making money. But at the beginning of the game, when money is very important because you need it to buy another ox, or you have to have it if you are upgrading your burgage plots, you have to have that money. So that way, I can get these started right away producing what I need them to produce because it doesn't cost much. I also have that little bit of money to open up another trade route if need be. So those are my early money making tips through trade that I go ahead and do because there are only so many bandit camps out there to start the game, and you can run into 2 years of absolutely nothing. And also to remember, put someone in the trading post. They collect up these goods that are going to be sold. If you have nobody in here, you're only going to be able to get imports. You can't export anything. Where to place your buildings is always going to be a big problem for you, especially when you're talking about getting berries and getting wild animals. These berries are far away. Where do you set up your hut? You could put it here, you could put it up here, but where is the most optimal place to put it? Now, without having hard data, I can only go by my experience. With it this far out, do you want to have it close to the berries, close to your granary, or maybe in between? I will say unequivocally, never put it close to the berries, because most of the time what happens is that your granary people are going to run to pick up the berries. These people are working constantly to get this stuff. You do not want to have them traveling all the way up here to get this and bring it all the way back down. Yes, your people in your forager hut are going to have to go ahead and run and get these, but I would rather have them travel a long distance because they're only going after berries than to have my granary people taking a long time to get this done. So they aren't doing anything else because they're taking up time. Placing it in the middle could be the way to go, but I would very much rather have my collections of anything closer to my granary and my storehouse than closer to the goods themselves. Which brings us to our storehouse and a granary. A lot of times it's very difficult to have a lot of workers. These guys are essential to picking up all the goods because they're going to bring it back to here and that's where everybody picks it up from. If you don't have enough, then they're going to have to go to wherever the goods are, let's say your forager hut, all the way up here to get the goods. You need to watch and see, are they just not collecting enough? And one of the easiest ways to do that is actually look at one of either your forager hut or your hunter and see how many goods do they have. Right now, these aren't going to show because it is wintertime, but this is nearly stocked full. It's telling you that people aren't getting all the stuff to the granary. You might need to put an extra person in there, even if just for maybe one season, to help get all of these goods over here to where they're centrally located, and then everybody can pick them up. One thing that can be sorely missed are roads. You just think, okay, let's go ahead and build a road. Why do I need to worry about anything else? As you can see, most people are using the road. So if somebody has to go from here to here, they could potentially have to go this route. So why not make it just a little bit easier? Roads are free. Why not build a road right here to connect them? There, that's now connected so people don't have to walk up here. If they need to get to here, they could just walk straight across. Do that with a bunch of your roads. You could see how I can't get through here and people are walking through here. That was a mistake on my part in which I should have built a road. With here, you could see how I have all these roads connected so that they can go ahead and choose which road they want to go into. I will do that with many things here in which if I have something back here, I will go ahead and I will build a road. Doesn't cost anything and travel is much faster. Don't be afraid to move building. You might have something sitting here and there are some that you almost never want to move. And that would be your granary, your storehouse. But there are small things that you can move. One of them, for sure, is your hitching post. It only takes one timber to build a hitching post, so it can be moved insanely quick. Let's say that this just isn't close enough. I am not happy with this. So I will just hit relocate and I will move this to wherever I need it and we'll move it here. This is going to build so quick because all it has is one log to be moved. And then because it only has one log and nothing else, it builds insanely quick. But moving it here might be more efficient for my town than having it way down here. So look at certain things also, like your logging camp. Let's say all this is used up and it's just a lot of travel time. Why not move your logging camp from this side to this side where it's closer to the trees? Make sure to watch where you have your hitching posts and you have storehouses. Or maybe if you need to then go ahead and move other buildings like your saw pit or your woodcutters. But don't be afraid to move buildings, especially if you have idle workers that are doing absolutely nothing. Once again, I hope that some of these have actually helped you out in some way. I plan to come out with more of them. If it did, check out another one of my videos in which I give you some tips to help you, and of course, strats on the market stalls so you don't make the same mistake I did and have terrible coverage. Until next time, my friends, take care, and thanks for watching.